Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Gets a Bloodline from Kami Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Naruto Uzumaki sighed as he crawled into bed. It had been a long and trying day for him. First he failed the Genin exam for the third time, got tricked by an instructor who later tried to kill him for holding Kyuubi and then talking to the Hokage who said he was sorry for lying all Naruto life but he had only wanted to do what was best but didn't know why Naruto was chosen. Naruto closed his eyes and pulled the covers over his head and thought, well my day can't get any more confusing than it already has, as he fell asleep. Funny, there was still 10 minutes left in the day before midnight. Naruto awoke to find himself in a long hallway and he thought, where am I? As he looked around and he heard the sound of voices coming from down the hall and he looked behind him and found the way behind him blocked by a brick wall and he thought, I guess there is only one way to go but how did I get here? As he began to walk down the hallway. After what felt like forever for him he came across a large room and he saw a huge cage on the other side of the room but the thing that he was looking at right now was the 30 teenage girls sitting on pillows all dressed for a slumber party. Naruto blinked and blinked again as he looked at each of the girls who were giggling and looking at each other and none of the girls noticed him. He tried to hear what was being said but he couldn't and debating his options he started to slowly back away afraid that he might get into trouble only to feel himself walk right into someone who was taller than him and he heard a grunt behind him. He slowly turned and saw a red-haired woman with green eyes standing there and she smiled at Naruto and he took a step back and said, hi. Feeling scared and confused. The woman said, hello Naruto. Naruto blinked and asked, how do you know my name? Across the room the 30 girls had all heard him and had looked across at him and one of the girls looked down and a couple of the other girls put their arms around her as they watched what was going on. The red-haired woman laughed a soft kind laugh and asked, how do I know the name of my own son? I gave it to you. With a loving smile on her face. Naruto blinked and blinked again before taking a step back and a frown came on his face and he said, I've played this game before lady and it won't work. The woman sighed and said, I know. I was there that night watching, wishing I could do something to help you. I was there every time you cried, every time you went to bed hungry, every time you were beat, and every time you wanted to give up. Mother knows I wanted to be there to hold you but I couldn't. As she fell to her knees with tears in her eyes. Naruto frowned as he bit his lip and asked, if you really was there and wanted to help then why didn't you? The woman sighed and said, can I tell you a story Naruto? A story about why the so-called Kyuubi attacked Konoha, why your father and I couldn't be there for you and why you are here now. Please, all I ask for is a chance to tell you this story. You can hate me the rest of your days but let me tell you it, as she looked at Naruto with sad, begging eyes. Naruto bit his lip and said, alright. I'll listen but don't try anything funny. I'm a ninja and I don't want to hurt you. The woman laughed and said, that's funny, but thank you. You see Naruto, the Kyuubi as everyone calls her is not really a demon. Naruto said, Kyuubi a girl. The woman said, actually, Kyuubi isn't her real name either. To mortals she is usually known as Inari, goddess of fertility, prosperity, and kitsunes. Naruto blinked and sat down and said, so you're saying Kyuubi is actually Inari? The woman said, no, what I am saying is what everyone in Konoha believes is sealed inside you is not really the Kyuubi. There was a Kyuubi in the world but it was destroyed by the Shodaime Hokage nearly 100 years ago. Naruto said, but I don't understand. A soft teenage voice from behind him, what she is trying to tell you. Is that when I was coming to Konoha originally I was not in my fox form but appeared as I am now and I was Coming to congratulate Kushina here on having a child when I was attacked by some mortal men who thought I was some weak female they could have their way with, and I changed from my female form to my kitsune form and defended myself by ridding the world of those evil men, but when I did so some stupid ninja from Konoha saw me and assumed I had come to attack Konoha, and he sent one of his teammates back to Konoha to warn them about an attack while he ordered the rest of his team to attack me. They wouldn't listen to me when I tried to stop them and they kept attacking me, so I had to defend myself. As that happened, other ninja arrived and it snowballed after that until your entire village was involved and your father came to stop it, and he knew who I was really and he asked me while pretending to fight me why I was doing this, and when I told him he said he understood and he summoned Kushina to his side to end the fight by putting me someplace safe and make it where people didn't learn the truth and also give me time to calm down. Naruto frowned and asked, "What truth?" Kushina said, "The truth that his wife, me, was in fact an immortal goddess living among mortals and having a child. Now you have heard what happened the night of the Kyuubi attack and you have heard us say what also happened. Can you figure out what goddess I am and who your father was? Think about everything the Sandaime said and what we told you, Naruto. Please." Naruto sat down and began to think, and after several minutes his eyes went wide as he paled and said, "You're the Shinigami." Kushina smiled and nods and said, "Yes, and who was your father?" Naruto said, but, if my father was the Yondaime then why, as he looked lost. Kushina said, "Then why was you chosen to hold Inari here? Think about it, son. We told you he was putting Inari someplace safe. Some place that would allow her to rest and calm down so she could return to her human form. It had to be a place where mortals could not touch her since they were what was angering her at the moment." Naruto said, "But, if she was placed inside me to keep her safe, then why did Dad die and where have you been all my life?" Kushina said, "When your father summoned me he did it using the summoning contract I gave him, and when that happened my spirit was pulled from my body and a nurse who came to check on me found my body without my spirit and thought I had died and had my body destroyed while I was with your father ending the fight. Without my human body I could not return to the mortal world, and I can only have a body once every 500 years because it takes a lot of energy from me to make it in the first place. All I could do is watch you as you grew up, wishing I could hold you in my arms and take the pain and suffering you felt away. I begged mother to let me return, but she told me she couldn't change the rules for me or she would have to change the rules for all, which could end up destroying everything." Naruto said, "But, who was your mom and why was she able to tell you not to be there?" Kushina smiled and said, "My mother, your grandmother, is Kami, Naruto." Naruto blinked and blinked again and screamed, "Kami's my what?" This earned laughs from all the girls present, and Kushina said, "Kami is your grandmother." Naruto said, "Then, what does that make me? Am I some kind of god or?" Kushina said, "Not yet. Right now you are considered a demigod. A half-god." Naruto said, This is a lot to take in." Kushina said, "I understand, son, and I wish that we had all the time in the world to talk to you, but we are all actually here for a reason." Naruto blinked and asked, "What reason?" Kushina said, "Until you learned about Inari being in you we couldn't approach you because you needed to open yourself up to a spiritual link, and without knowing about a spiritual link you can't use one. When you learned of Inari being in you it established one." Naruto said, "Okay. I got this link, but what is going to happen?" Kushina said, "Well, first thing you need to do is forget your anger at the mortals fools in Konoha. All those who have died who have hurt you, son, is being repaid 100 folds by your father." Naruto asked, "What do you mean?" Kushina said, "Minato didn't die from the ceiling as everyone believes. That was another reason on top of the fact he was too noble to ask someone else to give up their child that you were chosen. A poison kunai someone threw at Inari bounced off and cut him, and the poison is what killed him after the sealing was done. Since I returned to find my body destroyed, and we both saw the way the people of the village were reacting to you when the Sandaime said you had Kyuubi in you, we wanted to destroy Konoha. We couldn't actually do that, so we decided to do the next best thing. What better way to make people suffer than to have the one they view as a hero show them they are not even worth the dirt on their hero's feet. I asked Mother to let Minato take over for me while I watched over you, and since I couldn't come back to life, she was willing to do this for me, and so she gave my powers to him for 100 years. More than enough time for you to pass away in the mortal world, and so Minato gets revenge for you, so don't be angry at the mortal, they will get their punishment in the end. Naruto thought a moment with a frown and said, alright, I'll try, what next? Inari said, next is where we come in. You see, you're the first child born to one of us in many years. In fact, the last demigod to be born was my son, your great-grandfather, which is another reason I was coming to Konoha to see you. We each were coming to give you our blessings when everything went to hell like it did, so we have waited until we could contact you to give you your gifts, which is why I am still inside of you at this time and have not given it to you yet. I have been waiting to give my great-grandson, nephew, his birthday present, a little late but better late than never, huh? Naruto laughs and said, I guess so. So what is this blessing thing, and am I related to all of you, and who was your son? Inari said, my son was Hashirama Senju, Shodaime Hokage of Konoha. I fell in love with his father Ono and had our son, but then one day a nomad tribe who later became the Inuzuka clan attacked our home, and to save our son and my husband I reveal my kitsune form, scaring the nomads away, but they spread word of me, and fearing for my family's safety I was forced to leave them, so I gave Hashirama a gift to remember me by. Ono told me that he didn't care what I was, that he would always love me, as she looked off in memory. Kushina, seeing this, decided to give her some privacy and said, you asked if we are all related, son. The answer is yes and no. We are all considered sisters since we all have the same mother, but we were not born, we were simply created for specific jobs, so it's not blood. Basically it means that if any of them fell in love with another one they could be together. In fact, some haven't, some with mortals as well. Naruto looked confused, and Inari, who had recovered from her thoughts, said, since my own anger was the cause of your suffering, I have 3 gifts for you. The first is this. As she pulled out a scroll. Naruto asked as he took the scroll, what is this? Inari said, it is the summoning contract for the Ents. A race of tree-like men. They have served me well over the years tending to the forest. You are the second to ever have this contract, the first being my son. Sign your name at the bottom of the scroll in your blood and you can summon by, as she told him how to summon. After he signed the contract and demonstrated he could do it without actually summoning, Inari said, now the next is this. As she pulled out a samurai sword and she said, this is Kajutsun Maru, or Little Fox. It is a sword of defense. The blade is special. It appears to be dull and will never cut you or your enemy unless your enemy is trying to kill you. This sword will only kill in defense, never attack. As long as you are defending yourself from death, the blade can kill, but if you wanted to kill out of anger, revenge, or just to kill someone, it won't even cut their skin. Naruto took the sword, looking at it in wonder, and Inari walked forward and kissed Naruto on the forehead and said, and the last gift I give you is the same bloodline I gave my son, the Shodaime Hokage. You now have the ability to control plants. I know you don't know how to use it, which is another reason I gave you the contract for the Ents. They will help train you, but train in the forest. Also, unlike my son who I gave it to for only him, I made it where you and all your children will have it. Again, I am sorry, Naruto, for all the pain I caused you. I must be going because it's been 14 years since I last saw my beloved husband and son, but I will check on you from time to time, even though you won't see me. When I am gone, my mark on you will leave, so the seal on your stomach as well as your whiskers will disappear. Naruto frowned and said, I actually like the whiskers, but alright, I can handle that. Inari smiled and walked over and kissed him on the head and whispered something else in his ear that made his eyes go wide before she stepped back and faded away. In the real world, the seal on Naruto's stomach glowed before fading away. Back in the link, after she was gone, all the other girls came up one at a time, introducing themselves and either shaking his hands or wishing him a bright future, until there was only 3 left. The 3 girls walked over and Kushina giggled as she saw them walk over. One was a brunette around 5 feet 4 and had on a white silk dress. Next to her was another girl who was equal in height to the other 2 and had black hair and wore a black silk dress, and the third was a blonde who wore a blue dress. The brunette said, I am Destiny. The black-haired girl said, I am Fate. The blonde said, and I am Chance, and we are. All three together said, the three sisters, as they struck a pose. Naruto thought, okay, that was stupid. With a sweat drop on the back of his head at the pose all three made. Kushina said, Naruto, these three are very important. Destiny decides if a woman will have a child or not, it is because of her that I was able to conceive. Destiny said, I only chose that you would have a child, I did not decide when, where, who the father was or what gender or what he or she would look like. Kushina. Just that at some point in your life you would have a choice to have a child. That is all I decided. The only destiny anything has is a chance to be born. Kushina said, right, sorry about that, next we have Fate. As she winked at Destiny. Fate sighed and said, Heli Naruto. Where my sister Destiny chooses that someone has a chance to be born, I am the one who chooses they have a chance to die, not when or how, or why. The only fate anything that is born has is a chance to die. Naruto looked at Kushina and said, I thought that you decided that. Kushina said, I only guide the souls of the dead where they will go in the afterlife, son. Naruto nods and looked at Chance and she smiled and said, oh, I love him Kushina, he's so handsome. I just want to take him back with me and, in a fangirl voice. Kushina said, Chance. In a dangerous tone interrupting her. Chance sighed and said, I'm Chance but you can call me Lady Luck. I am your godmother. Where my sisters decide if someone will have a chance to live or if they will have a chance to die, I am more of a wild card. I will give you an example, the kunai that was thrown at Inari that was poisoned, when it bounced off her it could have went up, down, left, right or any other direction. I had to choose which direction it went. Naruto frowned and said, so it was your fault it him my dad and killed him. Chance sighed and said, sort of. I have no way of knowing what it will do after that moment in time where it bounced. I just chose a direction at random based off which ways it could go from the original throw and the bounce. I did not know it would hit your father or if it would have missed him because I don't chose everything. People blame the three of us for all kinds of things in life when in fact most of the time it comes down to people's own choice. Take this for example. As she pulled out a deck of cards and shuffled them. She laid several cards down and said, these are aces, they can be 1 or 11, these are face cards and are worth 10 and these are each worth the number that is on them. The point in this game is to get 21 or as close as you can without going over. If you go over you lose. Now here. As she placed one card face down on each side and one face up. Chance said, you have a king showing so you have 10 showing and I have a 10 showing. I don't know what your bottom card is but you can look for yourself. Naruto did and Fate said, now right here is where things are out of my hand. You know what you have but you don't know what I have or what the next card is. It comes down to your choice, will you take the next card or will you hold? I have nothing on your decision right now so chose. Naruto said, give it to me. Chance grabbed the next card and said, here is where I come in. I have 48 possibilities for the next card since we both have 2 each and there was originally 52 cards. I chose the next card as a 6. As she flipped it over and a 6 was shown. Naruto flipped his over and showed a 5 and said, I win. Chance said, but what if I chose it to be a king instead, would you still win? Naruto frowned and said, I see. So if people's names were all put together in a hat and one was drawn out then you would be the one who chose which name. Chance said, exactly. Now since I am your godmother I have a few gifts for you also. My sisters helped me with these so it's not just me you have to thank. Naruto said, well I got so much already, a summoning contract, a bloodline, a sword, what else could I ask for on top of all the well wishes and thanks I got? Kushina said, you understand why most of them didn't give you anything besides words of luck or thanks, right? As she looked at him. Naruto said, not really, why? Kushina said, oh my, I guess that slipped my mind. How embarrassing. You see we did sort of bend the rules about not contacting you earlier in your life, son. All those other girls who didn't give you anything is because they already gave you something. After they heard about you and what had happened, they went to Mother and asked her to allow me to give you my gift already. Your healing ability, the thing that has kept you alive all this time. That was my gift to you. It wasn't supposed to activate until you hit puberty, but all the others went and begged Mother to bend the rule just this once. Since they did, she allowed me to give it to you within the first 24 hours of you being born, and we made it so all your children will also, so they didn't have to give you anything else. Naruto said, "Oh, I didn't know. Could you let them know? I really appreciate it." Kushina said, "We will. Now before these three give you your gift, let me tell you a little more about my gift. I know you will be excited when you see theirs, so that is why I am going first. You can't get sick from any virus. You also become immune to anything dangerous you come into contact with, like poisons, after the first time coming in contact with it. The first time, depending on what shape you are in, will determine if you live or die. As long as you have chakra in your body, you can heal, and as long as you're not seriously wounded, you can fight the poison off after a little time. The only way to actually kill you is to cut off your head, destroy your heart in one move, or continuously damage your body while draining your chakra until you die. Now that does not mean I want you to risk your life doing stupid shit like taking on an army by yourself or standing in front of a rock slide. If you do, I'll wait for you on the other side and kick your ass myself. I had enough of that stuff from your father." Naruto gulped and thought, "Mom's scary." Chance walked forward and put her arm around Naruto and said, "Chill, Kushina, he's only just met you and you're already trying to put him under your thumb." Kushina glared at her and Chance stuck out her tongue and said, "Ignore her, she's just moody because she missed out being able to be there for you. Now on to our gifts." Fate said as she pulled out a pair of pants, a shirt, and a cloak all silver. "This is a new set of cloths that we had specially made for you. Like your healing ability, as long as you have chakra, these things can't be destroyed. Also, if you channel chakra into the cloak while wearing it, you will become invisible. Just be sure to pull the hood up so your head is invisible also. Now nobody will be able to see you, but if you are walking on something that could leave a footprint like water or dirt, sand, or things like that, your steps will appear. These cloths will grow as you do, and once you put them on, your seal will appear on your cloths." Naruto looked confused and said, "My seal? What seal?" Kushina sighed and said, "As you notice with each of my sisters, their names are what they are: the goddess of fate, destiny, chance, wisdom. My real name is Shinigami. I first met your father when he was but a little boy, right after his parents died when they were attacked by bandits. I was sure he was going to die and I waited and waited, but I noticed, even during the rain and the cold, he was looking at me. He actually saw me and he smiled at me. A traveler came by as I watched him and took him to Konoha, and I watched him every chance I got, and as he grew up he continued to see me. Even though the living should not be able to see me, he was able to, and he talked to me when we were alone. I should have known from the start something was up, because when I finally made my choice and went to Mother to tell her I wanted to become mortal to be with him, she said she was wondering how long it would take me to realize he was my soulmate. She gave me her blessing but told me that I would have to take a mortal name, and she gave me the name Kushina Uzumaki." Naruto rubbed his nose and asked, "Why did she give you that name?" Kushina lowered her head and said, "She knew I would have you, son. When she created us, she said it was to make her job easier, but most of us agree that the truth is she was lonely. Even though she lets us do what she created us for, she still knows everything, but she likes to watch as we discover the mysteries of the universe and uncover her greater plan. I didn't know it until after I lost my body and your father died, but when I chose your name, it was still her greater plan." Naruto asked, "What do you mean?" Chance said, "What she means is that we believe Mother has decided to put a task before you, Naruto. What it is none of us know, but she has put a task for you to complete. Your choices and your actions will either take you to that task or lead you away from it. If you reach your task and complete it, you will be awarded the same prize that every demigod who reached and succeeded their task received." Naruto asked, "So you're saying she's already planned out my entire life?" Kushina said, "No. Let me explain, son. You tell everyone your goal is to be Hokage, right? Naruto nods and Kushina said, well, the choices you make from now on will either lead you to your dream of being Hokage or away from it. You may become so angry at the village you decide to screw the village and leave, so your choice will lead you to or away from your dream. Mother has set up a goal for you to reach. One that only she knows about, and she will sit back and watch to see if you either go to it or away from it. Do you understand? Naruto thought a moment and said, so it all comes down to choice. Chance said, that is the greatest gift Mother ever gave to life, Naruto. Choice. She gave all life the gift of choice to decide what they will do, where they will go, what they eat, who they talk to, who they will marry. We, the gods and goddesses, are nothing more than people who work in the background making it rain or shine while you decide if you are going to go outside and enjoy what we do or stay inside and enjoy your own thing. Even we have choices. Even though Minato-kun is my soulmate, I had the choice of leaving him alone or never becoming mortal or even being more than a friend, as I had the choice to marry him. Naruto said, I see, so what is this prize I get if I pass her task, and what's my seal? Kushina said, your name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, which means a spiraling whirlpool of wind and wave. Naruto blinked and said, my name is a title like all of yours, so what does that mean exactly? Fate said, Mother believes in you, and so she's showing you that she believes in you and that you will complete the task she gives you, and she's telling you that if you do pass the task you will become the god of whirlpool Naruto. Your main powers will be over wind and water whirlpools. Naruto said, so that means I am the god of that spiral thing that happens when you drain water out of a bathtub, with a scrunched up nose. All four ladies laughed at that, and Kushina said, no son, well, a little but not really. You know what a tornado is, right? Naruto said, yeah, they are these really powerful funnels thingies that come from the sky. Gigi told me about one he saw when he went to Suna. Kushina said, when you die as a mortal, if you have completed the task Mother set before you, then you will be the one who starts and stops those. Now some will appear even without you starting them, and some will stop when you start them. You don't gain total control of them, but you will get a lot of control over them. Naruto said, but why do I want to cause them? Kushina said, okay, let's make an example. If there was a fire destroying all of the fire country, killing everyone here, and no mortals could stop it, you could create one or two in wind country that would pull the water from the ocean inland, where it would collect together and could be blown by one of the other gods or goddesses to fire country to rain on the fire to help put out the fire. Could you do that? Naruto said, yeah, I could do that. Kushina said, even if to do so you would have to put it near a village that could be destroyed. Would you be able to let a few die so many could live? You can't just think human life either, son. You have to think of all the plants, animals, and everything else that is alive. All life is connected. Trees make air for animals and humans to breathe. Animals eat grass and are eaten by other animals and humans, and when they die they give their bodies back to the world so the trees and plants could live to make more food and air for life to continue. Naruto blinked as he sat down and said, I never thought of it like that before. Kushina said, that is something we all have to deal with. Our actions may seem small here and there, but in the larger picture it is important. There are times where you will create a maelstrom that will sink a ship out at sea, and a little boy or girl will lose their parent, but then the fish would come back to the area to live around the ship or the coral reef and allow other fish to eat them, or humans that would normally have starved to death. The little boy or girl will hate you, but hundreds of thousands of other humans or animals will love you. I had to take my own husband to the afterlife, son, and someday I will have to take you as well. I wish I could make it where you both would live. Immortal lives on earth, but I can't. At least in the afterlife we will be together. Naruto said, it's a lot to take in. Finding out that grandma is wanting me to become a god. Chance said, and you can't tell anyone about it either. You can't tell any mortals who and what you really are. You will have to live your life, do what you think is right, and when you die you will find out if you won the prize or not. Naruto looked down and asked, Mom, if I were to have a family, what would happen to them? Kushina said, son, I will tell you this, Mother may seem strange and you may question her methods, but she never wants people to suffer. She lets us live a life as immortal for a short period of time to learn to love what is important to us, so when we die and are reunited with all our friends and family we treasure it, because friends and family is what makes life worth living. There will be a time you will be separated from your loved ones, but they will be waiting for you on the other side, as long as you are a good soul. Those who take pleasure out of pain and suffering of others will be punished 100 times what they did in life. I know you will have to kill, I know you will hate, I know you will love, and I know you will save. Do what you think is right, not what others tell you to do. That is the best advice I can give you. Naruto nods and said, so what now? Chance said, now Naruto, you get the rest of your gifts. The cloths were from both my sisters and me, but as your godmother I have a few other things for you. The first is this. As she handed him a box of playing cards. Naruto blinked and asked, what are these for? Chance said, those are not just some random playing cards. Those I made especially for you. Your classmate Sasuke, his bloodline, the Sharingan, allows him to copy nearly all form of jutsu. These cards are basically the same thing. All you have to do is hold these cards in front of you while sending chakra into them while someone is in front of you, and that person will be displayed on the cards, and later if you need that person to help you and they are not really there, you can send chakra into that card and a special clone of that person will appear and do what that person would do. Naruto said, so I am stealing someone? With a confused look on his face. Kushina said, oh, I get it. Naruto said, get what, mom? As he looked at her, as Kushina felt warmth in her heart hearing him call her mom. Kushina smiled and said, all right, say your teammates are hurt. With your chakra reserves and control right now you may never be able to do medical jutsu, but if you copied someone like Tsunade, who is one of the best medics in the world, you could use that card to summon a Kujbunshin of her to save your teammates. Chance said, correct, and as long as you send chakra into that card it won't matter what happens to the clone because they are real and can't be destroyed, but if you stop channeling chakra into them then they dispel. The clone will use your chakra and that person's skill to save your teammate's life. Naruto said, oh, I get it, but it still feels like I am stealing their hard work. Chance said, then ask their permission to copy them and explain it like we just did to you. I am sure you can find people who would let you copy them, and you have up to 52 people. Naruto said, but what about jokers? Chance laughed sheepishly and said, don't worry about the jokers, they're already taken care of. Fate narrowed her eyes and said, by who? Chance leaned over and whispered in Fate's ears, and Fate's eyes got wide and said, you bitch. How did you pull that one off? As she glared at her sister. Kushina asked, what? Watching both with narrowed eyes. Chance said, it's a surprise. Now Naruto, I am afraid it is time for you to go. Don't worry about your mom. You will be able to talk to her again, but it will be on your birthday. Naruto frowned and said, all right, but I was hoping we could all talk some more. There's so much I don't understand. Destiny asked, what did wisdom say? Naruto said, with time and age knowledge would become wisdom or something like that. Destiny said, close enough, though you only said what she was meaning and not her own words. You have a lot of knowledge right now and later you will have wisdom from thinking about it, but for now just be patient. Naruto nods and Kushina said, I'll be watching you, son, and I want you to know that no matter what I will be proud of you and I love you. Naruto smiled at that and Chance said, all right Naruto, it's time for you to leave. As she walked over with her sisters and each of them placed a hand on Naruto, and Kushina said, wait, what are you three doing? All three smirked and Chance said, he's a ninja now, right? Old enough to kill. Fate said, old enough to drink. Destiny said, and you know the rest. CYA. As all four vanished and Kushina's eyes got wide and thought, they are not going to really do that, are they? Oh hell. As she paled. After Naruto disappeared, he found himself in a bar and inn with men and women all drinking and having a good time, and the three sisters were still with him, and he asked, where are we? Fate said, Elysian Fields. It's like the VIP of the afterlife. It's where us gods come to party sometimes. My sisters and I decided that since you're an adult in the eyes of the mortal world by being a ninja, we would welcome you into adulthood and give you a night of singing, dancing, and drinking the night away. It's something we wanted to do for you. Naruto said. Really? But why? And why isn't Mom here? Destiny said. Naruto, we all know you're not used to having a mom again, and Kushina is basically going to smother you to try and protect you and won't let you have fun because she will be overprotective. Do you really want her to tell you that you can't drink cause you're too young, or have a good time with the three of us because she afraid we might be a bad influence on you? Naruto looked down and said, I guess not. Chance said, good, bartender, give us 4 rounds of ambrosia and keep them coming. We got the new demigod here and we're welcoming him, right? In a raised voice. Several cheers and whistles and a few cat calls came from all around the bar, making Naruto, who was feeling a little out of place, blushed seeing everyone raising glasses and having a good time. The bartender brought over 4 mugs with gold liquid in them and set them down, and Chance picked one up and handed it to Naruto and grabbed her one also, as did her sister, and the 3 sisters said, cheers, as they moved their glasses together and clinked them and looked at Naruto, who got the idea and clinked his also, and the girls started to drink and Naruto raised his to his mouth and took a sniff and his eyes fluttered as he slowly took a drink. Naruto thought as he tasted it, this beats even ramen, as he drank it as fast as he could. Chance said, here, another round. As she set Naruto mug on the counter and the bartender set 2 more and she handed Naruto one and he drank it again as the 3 ladies sipped theirs. After the 5th round, Naruto felt as if he was 10 feet tall, bulletproof, and could take on the world. Fate grabbed Naruto by the arm and dragged him out to the little section by the band and began to dance with him as he still drank away, as she sometimes gave him kisses. As one song and another began and Chance, Fate, and Destiny all 3 danced at least 3 times each with him as he kept getting more and more drinks and they gave him more and more kisses, as well as moving on to some groping as well. After that, Naruto was feeling like he was king of the world as the 3 sisters took him up a set of stairs and down a hall to one of the rooms, and after unlocking the doors and slipping in with a light make-out session, the girls locked the door and Chance said, so are you having a great time becoming a man, Naruto? Naruto with glazed eyes said, believe it, as he gave a good guy pose. All 3 giggled and Fate said, my sisters and I have one more gift for you. You see, we wanted you to be a man in heart, mind, spirit and body. We couldn't see you fumbling around like a novice in front of the mortals, and a demigod should never have to lower himself to the standards of mortals, so why should his first time be of lowered standards? You want the best, right, Naru-kun? Naruto was smiling and moved his head up and down, and Chance said, then here is your final gift, Naruto-kun. As she pressed her lips to his and his eyes fluttered as information flooded his mind, and he placed his hands on her back, pulling her closer before reaching his hands down and grabbing her ass, earning a squeak of excitement. As she broke the kiss, Naruto's eyes had gone from looks of pleasure to looks of lust, making all 3 girls smile at each other and move toward Naruto, each swaying their hips with a seductive look on their faces. The next morning, the light from the sun rose over the village of Konoha. A scream of, turn the damn light off, grandma, was heard. Inside Naruto's apartment, he tried to cover his face with a pillow, but the sunlight bounced off his dresser mirror and hit him again in the face. Naruto groaned as he moved his pillow and slowly sat up, and he winced as he held his head. He looked at his body and thought, so that wasn't a dream. It was real. Did they really have to give me that many hickeys? Oh my head. I am never drinking again. It took Naruto about a half an hour to get up and take a shower and get dressed in his new cloths. When he slipped on his cloak, a whirlpool formed out of water upside down going into the air, and a tornado came out of the sky and met the whirlpool. A circle formed around the two and the word spiraling maelstrom of wind and wave appeared around it. Naruto slipped his sword on his back and it crossed right where the tornado and whirlpool met. He also found a scroll and he opened it, and several papers were inside the scroll, and he looked at them and said, well, now that might come in handy one day. As he saw his birth certificate along with a few others and a couple of marriage certificates. As he was walking past his mirror, he saw his face and thought, I don't feel like explaining that right now. As he grabbed some tape and bandages and put them over his cheeks like he was hiding the whiskers. Naruto slowly made his way out of his apartment and headed for the woods around the village. After 20 minutes he made it back to the clearing where he beat Mizuki and looked around and thought, I guess this is far enough away and my headache is mostly gone. Here goes. As he bit his thumb and began to go through hand signs and said, Kuchio's no jutsu, as he slammed his hands on the ground and a huge puff of smoke appeared covering the area. When it cleared, Naruto looked around and asked, what happened and where did all these trees come from? A groaning sound came throughout the clearing followed by several others and Naruto looked around and said, what was that? Show yourself. A slow voice said, are you our young master Inari-sama told us about? Naruto looked around and said, yes I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Who are you and where are you? The voice said, we are around you and we are the Ents. My name is Oak. As the tree in front of Naruto began to turn and Naruto saw what looked like legs made out of wood and his eyes traveled up the wood until it came to a face and he looked around him and saw several others and the one that first turned around said, that is ash, cedar, spruce, pine, and maple. We are the 6 elders trees of the Ents. For you to summon us all at one time shows you have a lot of energy, young master. Naruto rubbed his head and said, yeah, I do, so what now? Oak said, you were the one to call us, why did you call us young master? Naruto said, I was told you could help me with my bloodline. I have the same bloodline as Hashirama Senju, Inari's son. Oak said, I see. As he started to moan and the other trees one by one also moaned. Naruto looked around and asked, what are you doing? Oak looked at him and said, young master must be patient. We Ents do not speak often so when we speak we think on it for a long time. Right now we are speaking amongst ourselves on what to do. Be patient. Naruto looked sheepish and said, sorry. And the Ents began to moan again. A half hour later Naruto was sitting on the ground and the moaning stopped and Oak turned to Naruto and said, young master. We have talked and before we teach you anything you must show us what type of person you are. We do not know if you respect plants or if you act as most humans. We will give you a task. You must take 5 seeds from each of us and go find a clearing that has no trees in it and plant the seeds far enough apart for each tree to grow big and strong and then you are to water the seeds and use your chakra to make them grow. You must make sure they have plenty of water because the more they grow the more water they will need. They will get food from the earth as long as they do not choke on each other but the ground must be fertile also. When the trees are all as tall as we are then return to this clearing. If any of them die then that type of tree will not serve you so you must take care of each and make sure you don't give them too much chakra at one time or they will die. Until then we will stay here and sleep. Do you understand? Naruto said, yeah, I think I do but how will I know how much is too much? Oak said, you must figure that out yourself. Here are the seeds and good luck young master. As he along with each of the other trees gave him 5 seeds each. Naruto took them and looked as the Ents took places around the clearing and closed their eyes becoming still and soon it looked like they were nothing but trees. Naruto sighed as he left and after 2 hours found a field that had no trees on it and Naruto thought, besides some flower I don't see anything here that should bother the trees and there is a pond over there I can get water from. But should I plant the trees near the flowers? I think this is a test. They seem to consider humans as evil and I guess from their view we are. No, I need to try not to harm any plants more than I have to so avoid the flowers. As he began to walk out onto the field and he used his hands to dig a hole and planted the first seed into the ground and he thought, water, need water. As he checked to see what he could put water in. After finding nothing Naruto thought for a few minutes and said, I got it. As he put his hands together and said, Kujubunshin no Jutsu, as 5 clones appeared. Naruto looked at them and pointed to 2 of them and said, I want you both to henge into buckets and I want you 2 to go and get water. I want you to take this seed and find a place for it and have one of them bring you water but don't do anything else besides water it. I want to do this myself to make sure I don't mess up. The clones said, right boss, as they quickly got to work. After Naruto got water poured on the seed he was at, he slowly started to send chakra into the ground, and at first nothing happened and Naruto thought, please grow. The ground began to slightly break apart and a small sprout came out of the ground, but it started to turn yellow and Naruto stopped and said, that don't look good. The clone said, maybe it needs more water, boss. Naruto looked at the clone and then the plant and frowned a moment and said, alright, but slowly. The clone nods and began to give it some more water and Naruto thought, drink, as he sent chakra into the ground. The sprout slowly turned back green and when it did Naruto thought, grow. And the sprout began to grow again, but a few moments later Naruto saw the leaves turning yellow again, so he started to add more water and kept this going slowly over the next hour. By the time the tree was fully grown, Naruto was panting with sweat and said, I need a break, I forgot to get some breakfast, as he got up dispelling the clones and headed back toward the village. As he was walking through town he saw the looks he was getting of confusion and resentment. Naruto made it to Ikiruka ramen stand and Ayame looked at Naruto and blinked and said, Naruto, is that you? Naruto said, yeah, can't you tell? Ayame said, you look so different. You got some new cloths and you're hiding your whiskers. Naruto rubbed his head and said, yeah, if we can we not talk about it right now? There's some things I need to get figured out for myself first. Could I just get 3 bowls of miso ramen? Ayame said, sure, coming right up, as she turned and got to work. A few minutes later she set them in front of Naruto, who slowly ate them, shocking Ayame, and she asked, is everything okay, Naruto? If you want to talk to someone, I'm here for you. Naruto looked up and saw the worry in Ayame's face and something clicked in his head and he smiled kindly at her and motioned with his head to come closer. Ayame got closer and he motioned again, and when she was only a few inches from his face he slowly reached up and caressed her cheek and said, thank you for everything, Ayame. As he leaned forward and kissed her lightly on the cheek near the corner of her mouth, shocking her as he turned and left, leaving behind 3 empty bowls and his payment as well as a tip. Ayame stood there for several moments looking at the spot Naruto had been, and a small smile formed on her lips as she took the money and cleaned up the bowls. Naruto thought as he made his way back to the clearing, why did I do that? As he tried to figure out what happened. When he got back to the clearing he said, hey, I thought I dispelled you all. A clone stood beside a bucket and said, you dispelled the other clones but me and the other one who was hanged into buckets, so we continued to work on the tree, look. Naruto looked at it and said, good job, I guess you saw how I did it on the first tree, huh? The clone said, yeah boss. You want us to work on the other trees? Naruto said, no, I don't know how much chakra you have left, so both of you dispel. The bucket and the clone dispelled and Naruto's head swam a moment and he thought, whoa, wait a minute. I got the memory of both clones switching back and forward growing that tree. Does that mean I get the memories from Kujbunshin when they are dispelled? Only one way to find out. As he created another clone and said, I want you to go write something on the dirt and then dispel to see if I get your memories, as he turned around and closed his eyes. After the clone dispelled, Naruto's eyes got wide and turned around and said, it worked, as the word grow was spelled on the grass. Naruto looked around and said, well, if I am going to get done today I need to get busy. Kujbunshin no Jutsu. As 20 clones appeared and Naruto had them split up and began to grow trees slowly while he did also. After a few hours in creating new clones, Naruto was panting heavy from growing the last tree when the world around him shimmered a moment before everything went dark. He appeared in a place he had just recently visited and Naruto thought, this is where I met Mom, as he began to run down the tunnel. When he got there he saw the room where his mom was before empty, and then he heard a female scream and he took off in the direction of the scream, and after a few minutes he frowned and said, what the hell are you doing here, Ino? Ino jumped and said, what the hell, you shouldn't be able to be here right now, Naruto. Naruto said, what are you doing in my mind? Ino said, that's my cue. As she put her hands together and said, Kai. Naruto found himself back in the real world and he heard someone breaking through the woods quickly, and Naruto put his hands together and said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. and the clearing was filled with Naruto, and Naruto screamed, "Get her!" as him and all his clones began to run in different directions. It wasn't long before one dispelled, giving the others directions to where Ino was currently running through the woods. Ino thought, what the hell? First I walk into a room with Naruto having love with 3 women, and then I find Naruto in his own mind. He shouldn't have. What was that? As she heard something in the woods. Just then Naruto jumped over her and appeared in front of her, and Ino quickly changed directions and avoided Naruto only to be blocked by him again. As Ino kept changing directions, she was being slowly led away. Ino was panting and thought, how the hell is he able to keep up with me like that and track me so easily? He's pissed and I don't want to find out what he might do. I need to get out of here or find someone to stall him. About 5 minutes later, Ino saw a cabin and had smoke coming from the chimney, and she thought, people. As she ran and quickly grabbed the door and opened it and ran in, slamming and locking it behind her. She turned around and paled as she saw Naruto sitting there, and she said, but, as she quickly unlocked the door and opened it and saw 10 more Naruto outside the door, and she took a step back in fear as the other Naruto, who were releasing a little key and glaring at her, came in, closing the door. Ino felt herself bump into someone, and before she had a chance to understand what was happening, her hands were grabbed and tied behind her back with an old sheet that was off the old bed. She then was thrown into the chair Naruto had been in, and she saw all the Naruto glaring at her before they went up in smoke, and the real Naruto stood there. Naruto had his arms crossed and he said in an angry voice, "Hello, Ino." Ino gulped and said, "Hi." As she looked around the room and noticed the windows were boarded up and Naruto was leaning against the door and there was a small fire in the fireplace. Naruto said, "You know you really screwed up, Ino. You are now my enemy." Ino blinked and said, "Enemy? What the hell are you talking about, and why did you tie me up like this? I'm a Konoha and you're just the dead last who couldn't even pass." Naruto said, "Because you are my prisoner now, Ino, and for your information, I did pass," as he showed her his height. Ino frowned and Naruto pulled out a kunai and said, "Do you know what happens to enemy ninja when they are captured, Ino, especially kunoichi?" Ino's eyes got wide and she tried to stand up, only for Naruto to grab her by her hair and pull her back onto the chair and held the kunai at her neck. Ino had tears in her eyes and she said, "Please, please don't." Naruto said, "I haven't said I would do anything to you, Ino. I just asked you a question and you freaked out. All I want to do is talk to you. You answer my questions and I will let you go, but you have to answer my questions truthfully. You are after all my enemy and my prisoner, and I can ask the questions nicely and let you go, or I can interrogate you." Ino's eyes got wide again and she gulped and said, "All right, I will talk. Just don't hurt me." Naruto took the kunai away and said, "Now why did you become my enemy, Ino?" Ino said, "I don't know, Naruto. We're both Konoha nins, so why do you keep calling me your enemy?" Naruto said, "Because you attacked me, Ino." Ino said, "No, I didn't." Naruto said, "Then what were you doing in my mind, Ino?" Ino frowned and said, "I." Naruto raised the kunai and Ino said, "I was curious, that's all." Naruto lowered the kunai and asked, "Curious about what, Ino?" Ino said, "I was curious how you were growing those trees." Naruto said, "And you couldn't ask me." Ino bit her lip and Naruto said, "What is it you wanted to do with that info, Ino? Why did you have to go inside my head to get the info instead of asking me?" As he put the kunai back to her neck. Ino gulped and said, "I wanted to learn to do it to impress Sasuke-kun." Naruto said, "And you wanted to take credit for it yourself. You didn't care about me and wanted to take what I have for your own selfish reason. You basically were raping my mind, Ino. What do you have to say for yourself?" Ino frowned and said, "I didn't learn how you did it. You caught me before I could." Naruto said, "Oh, and how can I be sure of that?" As he glared at her. Ino said, "Because I told you I didn't." Naruto said, "Your words mean nothing to me, Ino. You are after all my enemy. What if I were to rape you but stopped before I cummed and said, I didn't rape you because I didn't get my goal? Does that mean I didn't rape you?" Ino was scared now as she saw the look Naruto had on his face. He screamed, "Answer me." Ino quickly shouted, "No." Naruto said, "Then what's the difference between what you did to me and what I just said? Is it because one is mental and on is physical?" Ino looked down and Naruto began to walk back and forward, and after several minutes he said in a calmer voice, "Ino, I have secrets I don't want anyone to know. Secrets that could make my life a whole lot harder or that could hurt those I care for. You may not know what you got or didn't get as a secret or not, and there is no way for me to know what you have." Ino said, "All I saw was you having love with 3 women. That was it." Naruto said, "But how can I trust you, Ino? You're not the most trustworthy person. Your friendship with Sakura is proof of that," making Ino flinch. Naruto bit his lip and said, "The secrets I have I want to keep secret from now until the Chunin exams in 6 months. My ability to grow plants plus my relationship with those 3 girls are something I can't let anyone know about, which is why I am training so far away from everything." Ino said, "That field is owned by my family." Naruto sighed and said, "Then sorry about trespassing like that. I thought it was a normal field, but that doesn't help this problem. How can I trust you if I let you go not to tell anyone what you saw?" Ino said, "I promise. I won't tell anyone." Naruto said, "Not even if Sasuke came up and told you that he would marry you if you told him?" Ino couldn't answer and Naruto said, "That is what I am talking about, your promises mean nothing." Ino asked in a scared voice, "What are you going to do to me?" Naruto sat down and said, "You know you screwed up, right? I mean, if I wasn't such a nice guy or a Konoha nin and you did that, then odds are you would be on this bed right now screaming in pain," making Ino pale and flinch. Naruto said, "If I untie you, will you not run away until we can come to a solution? If you try to run, I will have to capture you and odds are hurt you. I don't want to hurt you." Ino gulped and she nods her head yes, and Naruto walked behind her and untied her. Ino pulled her hands around and rubbed her wrist, and Naruto sat back down and said after a few moments, "The way I see it, I can either blackmail you into keeping quiet, but if the right price came in front of you, then you would reveal what you saw and know, and then my life will be hell, even if I ruin your life by telling everyone how you sneak into friends and allies' minds and steal their jutsu and knowledge for your own selfishness. That will result in you losing your ninja license and all your friends and make your clan look bad. I don't think you would want that because you would never be with Sasuke then." Ino bit her lip and thought, "Damn, I was fixing to run but nothing's stopping him from ratting me out if I did escape," and asked, "So what then?" Naruto looked at the fire a moment and he heard a whisper in his ear in a seductive tone, and as he listened he said, "That might work." Ino asked, "What?" Naruto looked at her and said, "The only way I can properly protect myself from you revealing what you know is to keep you prisoner." Before Ino could react, she felt the kunai on her neck and Naruto said, "Don't. I don't mean I will keep you locked up here, but I have an idea that will keep you on a leash like a dog until the Chunin exams." Ino said, "I'm no dog." Naruto said, "Dogs obey their masters and are given treats for good behavior and punished for bad. Prisoners are given only the essential to live and are interrogated and used by the other prisoners or guards. It's your choice which you want to be. You either stay a prisoner locked away someplace I know you can't tell anyone what you saw, or I can let you walk out of this cabin and go back to your life with a few rules and restrictions that you have to follow until the exams are over, and then you can do whatever you want. It's your choice." Ino started to open her mouth when Naruto said, "Don't think you can say you agree to it now and back out later, because I have an insurance policy in mind that you will have to follow, or no deal." Ino frowned and said, "Since when did you get so smart and manipulative?" Naruto said, "Ino, in the last 24 hours Mizuki-sensei tried to kill me. I found out my father was the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, my mother was Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, also known as the Red Death, and that I am also the great-grandson of Hashirama Senju, or as most know him as the Shodaime Hokage of Konoha, and I have his bloodline, which is why I can make plants grow. Those are but a few of the secrets that I have, and if any of them were found out before I am strong enough to defend myself, I will have assassin from Iwa, Kumo, Mist, and probably Suna as well, coming here to kill me in my sleep and those I am close to. Now do you understand why I am like this? Ino swallowed and said in a dry voice, yeah, is that all true? Naruto said, I look like my dad and you saw my bloodline, and Mizuki is in jail right now for trying to kill me. Ino frowned and said, alright, I can understand why you're this way now. What is it I got to do so I can leave? Naruto said, from now until the exams are over you are my servant and I am your master. You will do as I tell you and you will be silent about everything that is said between us to everyone, and you will do everything I tell you to. In doing so you will be taught a lesson about invading other people's privacy when they are friends and allies, and also so I can keep an eye on you. You will be given rewards for following my rules and punished by breaking them. My word will be law and are not negotiable. Do you understand? Ino looked down and said, yeah, I understand. Naruto created a Kajbunshin that quickly left. After it was gone, Naruto said, remember the insurance policy I mentioned earlier, so I know you won't tell anyone. Ino gulped. Yeah. Naruto said, when my Kajbunshin gets back you will learn what it is. For now I will tell you your duties. I know you work at your family shop, what time and when? Ino said, usually every day until 5 when we close. I know I will have ninja duties also now. Naruto said, I will as well. Alright. I will be training every day until 7 p.m. I want you to come every other day starting tomorrow to my apartment. I will leave a scroll full of chores you will do. Ino said, chores? I'm not doing your chores. Naruto said, then I guess I will have to lock you up then. Ino frowned and Naruto said, now don't interrupt me again. Now these chores are your payment to me for the crime you committed against me. I expect you to present yourself as a servant will to her master in every way possible. If you fail to do so or fail to complete your chores before I arrive back at my apartment at 7, then you will be punished. Anything special you need like hygiene or cloths you may leave in my spare room so you don't have to drag them across town each day. Ino said, when you say cloths, what do you mean? Naruto said, a maid's outfit. Ino glared at him and Naruto smirked and said, you won't like the alternative. Ino frowned and said, fine, what else? Naruto said, I won't make you do it every day, but unless you are on missions you must come by on every other day. If you fail to do so I will carry out my insurance policy. Just then the door opened and the Kajbunshin walked in and said, these were all I could find, as he held up 3 rosebuds. Ino blinked and laughed and said, your big insurance policy is young roses. Naruto smirked and said, laugh all you want but you're forgetting several things, Ino. Ino said in an amused tone, oh, and what's that? Naruto said, my bloodline, your family business, and what range I can use my bloodline from. Ino's eyes darted back and forward a moment before she paled and said, you could attack me in my home. Naruto said, or destroy all your plants and ruin your business, or have them destroy your home. And because plants are nearly everywhere I could attack you nearly anywhere. Ino frowned and said, I see your point. Naruto said, good, so do we have a deal? You follow my directions and be my servant and get rewards, fail to keep your silence or complete your task and be punished as I see fit. Agreed. Ino sighed and said, fine, I agree. Naruto said, good, and since we were able to reach an agreement without anyone being hurt besides trust and a few scratches, I will give you a reward as I see fit. Are you ready for it? Ino said, I guess. Naruto said, good, stand up and take your cloths off. Ino's eyes got wide and screamed, what? Naruto said, remember Ino, you are now my servant and must do as I said or you will be punished. I am not going to touch you with anything on my body or rape you or force you to have love or anything like that. All I am going to do is talk to you while you stand still and let these roses touch your skin. It's something one of those 3 ladies you saw taught me and you will love it. I promise you. If I break my word by touching you with anything on my body, or try to rape you or force you to have love, the deal's all off and you can have me arrested and I will keep silent. But if I keep my word you have to follow my directions. I will even let you hold a kunai for you protection if you want. It's a sign of trust that I am giving you. By showing that you are vulnerable and that I don't do anything to you, then you see that I am not actually a bad person. I was vulnerable to your jutsu before Ino when you entered my mind, so I just want you to see and feel what me and any other friends or allies you used it on feels like. Ino frowned and said, but I don't want to show you my body. Naruto said, Ino, I didn't want you to see my memories. One of your chores will be to draw me a bath, and when I request it to wash my back, so odds are unless you want to stand for some time with wet cloths on, then you're going to have to get used to me seeing you and you seeing me. Ino said, you're a sick bastard. You know that. Naruto said, actually, you can blame those 3 ladies for this. After all, they were the ones who taught me everything I know about what I plan for your gifts and punishments. Ino frowned and said, fine, but can you give me a little privacy? Naruto said, I will wait outside until you call me back in, and I will even let you still keep your bindings, panties and bra on. Here is your kunai. As he threw it into the floor and walked out. Ino sat down and thought to herself for several minutes, weighing her choices, and after standing up and closing her eyes began to undress. Naruto waited about 10 minutes when Ino's voice said meekly, okay. Naruto came in and his eyes went wide as they trailed down Ino's body and said, you have a body that rivals a goddess, Ino. Ino blushed and said, please stop staring and get it over with so I can get dressed and go. As she covered her chest with one arm and her with her other hand, though she still had on panties and a bra. Naruto nods and walks over, grabbing one of the roses and said, arms out to your side and eyes closed. Ino bit her lip and slowly moved her hands away, and Naruto walked over and put the rose on Ino's forehead and said, now be perfectly still and listen to my voice. Feel the rose as it caresses your body and imagine that it is me doing this, not Sasuke, not yourself or anyone else, but imagine that this rose was my lips traveling along your body. As he slowly began to move the rose down her nose to her top lip and slowly spun it and said, inhale my scent as I breathed lightly on your lips. As he brought it down onto her lips and slowly began to move it across her lips and said seductively, as I lightly kiss your lips and you feel the velvet touch from my lips. As he slowly trailed across to her ear and said as he moved his head closer in a seductive tone, as I whisper how beautiful you are and how my eyes see an angel before me, a mere mortal. As he trailed down her cheekbone to her collarbone and said, as I kiss my way down and lightly nibble, here. As Ino gasped and her eyes fluttered as Naruto spun the rose just enough for a thorn to lightly nick the skin. Naruto slowly brought it back to the center of her neck and down to the valley between Ino's C-cup breast and said, as I find my way down to your heart and I caress your breast as I nibble on your nipple, feeling your heart beating with mine. As he slowly went around her nipple that was poking through her bra below her heart and then trailed over to the other breast and did the same. By now Ino was panting as her body was flooded with pleasure and she thought, oh Kami, what is happening? Naruto used another rose to begin to tease both erect nipples now, and Ino shuddered as Naruto had a kajbunshin he had made earlier that went outside with him to take the last rose and began to trail down Ino's body, and Naruto said, as I let my hands caress both your breast I kiss my way down lightly teasing your belly button and down till I reach the top of your panties. Ino shuddered and said, please. Naruto said, silence Ino and be still. Ino bit her lips and the clone moved the rose to her right knee, and Naruto said, as I work my way from your knee to your inner thigh looking at the gates of heaven before me, kissing each step of the golden path, before doing the same to the other leg. By now Ino's legs were trembling and the clone took the rose and began to lightly tease Ino's inner thigh on both sides, and Naruto said, and then as I reach the gates to drink from that heavenly nectar I can't help but stare at the goddess that is giving it to me and give my praise of undying love, and in my eyes take in her beauty, I look upon her lips and pray to hear my name come from her beautiful lips. And the clone stood up quickly running the rose by her real lips and under her nose, and Naruto said, but alas I must wake from this dream because a mortal like me knows the goddess' heart belongs to another and the name that would come out would not be mine, so I look at the goddess and pray I dream of her another night. I gave you the same modesty you use when you wear a two-piece bathing suit you are so famous for when anyone else could have done more. Good night Ino, see you tomorrow my servant, and remember, I will reward good behavior and punish bad. As the clone slipped the rose in her hair before both went up in smoke, leaving Ino alone in the house on trembling legs. Ino's breath was in short shallow breaths as her eyes were unfocused and she fell to her knees and thought, "Oh Cammy. Oh," as she closed her eyes and sat there. In a clearing some distance away, Naruto's eyes fluttered as the memories from his two clones returned and he heard, "Is everything alright, young master?" Naruto looked up and said, "Yes, Oak. My last two clones that I had training just dispelled and I got their memories. Please continue." Oak nods and said, "So what you must do is." When Ino made it to her family shop, she walked in and the scent of the flowers hit her and her eyes went wide before fluttering and she fell to her knees, feeling her body react to the scent and the memories that came with it. Inoichi said, "Ino, are you alright, dear?" as he ran around the counter. Ino felt her body orgasm as her body remembering the rose that she still had in her ear and the feeling that it brought, and she closed her eyes and saw Naruto as the one pleasing her as his words rang in her head and she felt her dad touch her shoulder calling her name, and for a moment she thought it was Naruto until she caught herself and she bit her lip and said as she caught her breath, "Yeah, Dad. I just overdid it today. I think I need to take a shower and go lay down." In a dry voice. Inoichi frowned and said, "You need to be more careful, princess." Ino swallows and said, "I'll try, daddy." As she slowly got up holding her breath as not to smell any more flowers and went up the stairs and quickly locked herself in the bathroom before slumping against the door. As she laid there, Naruto's final words to her rang in her head and she realized something and thought, "You asshole. You made me inhale the scent of that rose so that any time I smelt that scent I would remember and my body would want to feel that again." As she raised her hand up to the rose in her hair and as her finger brushed the petal her body shivered and she bit her lip and thought, "And the touch of a flower as well. You rewards are torture as well because of my family business I have to interact every day with. How am I going to handle this when my body reacts like this?" As she looked at her soaked shorts. The next day Naruto was back in the woods when a kunai flew at his head and he replaced himself with a log and saw Ino walk out and Naruto screamed, "What the hell, Ino?" Ino glared at him and said, "You bastard. Your reward has tortured me all night and day. I can't stop thinking about it and my body won't stop reacting to the touch and scent of flowers." Naruto smirked and said in a seductive tone, "So how do you like it, my servant? No matter where you go or what you do, I will always be able to have you think of me and remember my touch. I can make flowers bloom anywhere you go, so running away won't work, and if I can cause you pleasure when I'm not around, what could I do for pain? You are my prisoner in a prison without walls or bars." Ino shivered at the words he said and said, "Please stop." Naruto placed his hand on the ground and a rose grew and Ino took a step back in fear and Naruto said, "Just the thought of what I could do to you terrifies you, and excites you," as he threw the rose on the ground, earning a sigh of relief from Ino. Naruto stopped using the seductive tone and said, "Now you know how I feel, Ino," making her blink and asked, "What?" Naruto looked at her and said, "When you invaded my mind to steal my secrets, my treasure. I am afraid of you. You were someone I went to the academy with and we may not have been friends but we knew each other. You have made me scared of you and everyone else in this village, especially after Mizuki tried to kill me. I have to look at everyone in this village as an enemy now because of you. How do I know that Shikamaru won't use his shadow to make me walk off a cliff, or Choji to use his family jutsu to crush me, or Sasuke to use a fire jutsu on me? You destroyed my trust in everyone and made me a prisoner in a prison with no walls or bars, and yet I must constantly fear the others around me now. I just returned the favor, but you only have experienced the pleasure of it so far because I am being nice to you, but I could just as easily make you fear what I can do as well. I don't want people to fear me, but I also don't want to live in fear also." Ino's eyes looked down and she softly whispered, "I didn't think of it that way before." Naruto said, "Ino, you need to wake up." Ino looked confused and said, "I am awake." Naruto looked at her and said, "No, you're not. Right now you live in your own little dream world where everyone does everything for you, where you can be as big of a bitch to anyone you want and do anything to anyone because they see the little princess of the Yamanaka clan. Nobody sees the woman you really are, the woman who is asleep inside of you. The one who could face any danger that came at her and kicked it ass or run in fear from the slightest scare. Remember I asked you if you knew what could happen to you if I was a real enemy. Instead of going home to your daddy or going back to your dream world you live in where your dreams your knight in shining armor will come and rescue you and where you marry Sasuke and live happily ever after you could be a broken and bloody mess lying in some ditch dying alone and cold or sold as a slave to be used by the highest bidder. I admit what I did to you was wrong and you have every right to hate me, but you also should be thanking me. Ino, who was thinking over his words, felt that was a slap in the face and said, "Thank you." "For what?" Naruto said. "For helping to show you the dream world you live in isn't real, to give you a reason to find who you really are and not the fangirl who only uses those around her as playthings. I've seen the way you treat Choji and Shikamaru. Both see you as a sister since your families are so close, but all you see them as are subjects to be pushed around by you to do what you want. The lazy ass and the fat ass as you call them, you can't even call someone you thought of as your best friend her name. You have to insult her and treat her like she's lower than you. You use everyone and anyone to do what you want because people respect your family name and your family reputation, but like Sasuke, you're nothing but a spoiled little brat who uses your family name to claim you're better than others." Ino said. "Sasuke-kun not like that." Naruto said. "Really?" as he hanged into Ino and said, "Sasuke-kun's so cool and dreamy," before he dropped the henge and said, "Why? Why is he so cool? What has he ever done that is so important that he deserves special recognition from you and the rest of the village? Has he even said a kind word to you or any of the other girls who chase after him?" Ino quickly said, "Of course he has." Naruto crossed his arms and said, "Really? What?" Ino opened her mouth and closed it and then said, "I don't know, but I know he has." Naruto said, "Really? How do you know that?" Ino said, because people respect him." Naruto said, "And why do people respect him?" Ino quickly said, "Because he's an Uchi." As her eyes got wide a moment and Naruto said, "Because of who his family was. Even you admit the only reason you like him is because he comes from a rich and famous clan and you want to be famous and rich also. You want to be the princess and have your big dream wedding and live your big fancy life, but what will it matter when none of your friends come to your wedding because you have none from being a bitch to them for years, or what is so important about living a fancy life if you sit at home alone?" Ino said, "But I won't be alone, I'll have Sasuke." Naruto snorts and said, "Really? What is Sasuke's goal in life, Ino?" Ino blinked and said, "I don't know." Naruto said, "To kill his brother and restore his clan." Ino said, "Well, yeah, Sasuke's brother killed his clan and as the last Uchiha Sasuke has a duty to restore his clan." Naruto said, "Yeah, just like I will when I reveal who I really am. But you know the difference between Sasuke and me. I told you the order Sasuke goals are from most important to least. Restoring his clan comes second to Sasuke. Sasuke trains every day to get stronger and is waiting until he knows where Itachi is, thinking Itachi just going to stand and wait for him. He will marry several girls them until they are pregnant and then leave to chase after his brother. When he gets there he will find a clue where he went, and instead of coming back to the woman who are the mothers of his children he will follow that clue and the next, going day after day chasing a dream that either someone else will finish destroying Sasuke's lifelong goal or living a life of misery and despair where his whole world revolves around Itachi until he dies alone somewhere, never even seeing the face of his children or the woman who threw their lives away for him." Ino said, "Sasuke not like that. You're wrong." Naruto said, "Really? Then why is it the report I just gave you the one your own dad gave the Hokage about Sasuke after he entered Sasuke's mind to determine if he should be allowed to be a ninja?" Ino's eyes got wide and Naruto said, "Sasuke a flight risk. That's your dad's official statement. His file was on the Hokage desk when I went there after Mizuki tried to kill me and I read it while the Hokage was ordering what was to be done with Mizuki. Your dad recommended that Sasuke be put on a team with a sensei who will spend some quality time with Sasuke alone, trying to get him to forget his revenge, or someone who is willing to kill Sasuke should he flee, but Sasuke is an avenger who feels that avenging his clan is more important than restoring it. You may doubt my words, but ask your dad the truth. Ask him not to lie to you, and ask him, is Sasuke a flight risk who would betray the village if someone offered him power or promised to deliver Itachi to him? You should know how to read your father if he is lying or not. Now it is already after 4 and you have duties you have to get ready for. You can believe me or not, and you can go back to your prison because I am your enemy. One who doesn't give shit about your clan or that you're a princess. To me, you're someone who I own and who I have to watch to make sure she follows the rules, or I will punish her. Now leave me alone, I have training to do. Here's the key to my apartment. The address is on the key, as he threw it on the ground at her feet. Naruto said, I will be home at 7, you can either do your task and be rewarded as I see fit, or you can be punished. Goodbye. As he turned his back to her, Ino took the key and left the clearing in her thoughts. After she was gone, Naruto slumped to the ground and thought, I hope I am doing the right thing. When Ino made it to Naruto's apartment after walking around for a bit, she opened the door and saw the place and thought, what a mess, as she saw a note on the table with her name on it. She walked over and read the note. Dishes, laundry, sweep the floors, make the bed, sack up the trash, cook dinner, and if you need groceries get them yourself. I expect a warm bath drawn for me when I get home so I can wash up before I eat, and you will assist in washing my back and hair, and I expect you to be in your uniform when I get home. After my bath, you will serve me dinner and you shall read to me a chapter of a story I have marked for you to read as my entertainment. After you have finished your task, I will give you your reward or punishment depending on your performance. That will be your task on the nights you are to come serve me. If I find out you have betrayed my trust, though, you will not like the results. Ino frowned and said, forget this. I'll stay here, but he can clean his own damn place. As she sat down and picked up the book, but it would not open for her and she frowned after breaking a nail. At 7 p.m. Naruto walked into the apartment and looked around and saw Ino sitting asleep in a chair, and he thought, you make this too easy, Ino, as he threw a kunai at the ceiling above Ino. The next moment Ino screamed as the tiles on the ceiling span and water balloons with ice water in them fell on her, soaking her to the core. Naruto said, that was one of your punishments. That was for not having my bath drawn. You still have several others to go. As he walked over and sat down on the counter. Ino screamed, what the hell, Naruto? Are you trying to kill me? Naruto rubbed his ear and said, are you finished now, prisoner? Ino screamed, that's it, I'm out of here, as she went to the door and tried to open the door, but it wouldn't work. She glared at Naruto and walked to the window and tried to raise them, and it wouldn't work, and she began to scream at the people walking on the road and hitting the glass, and after 10 minutes she was panting hard for air. Naruto smirked as he laid back on the counter and asked, feel better now? Ino turned and glared at him, and Naruto said, in case you're wondering, this entire building we are in belongs to me. The Hokage sold it to me when the old owner passed away, and I've owned it since I was 6, this isn't really my apartment. Ino frowned and said, then why did you have me come here and why can't I get out? Naruto said, well, I don't trust you with my real apartment yet because you have not shown me that you are no longer my enemy, so I had you come to this one as a lesson for you. Ino said, I don't need you stupid lessons. Let me go. Naruto rolled off the counter and landed on his feet in the kitchen and said, see, that's your problem right there, Ino. You still think you can do what you want and get away with it. You don't want to own up to your responsibilities, and that is going to get you or others hurt or killed. Ino said, and what would you know? Naruto's face changed expressions several times before he sighed and walked out of the kitchen and into the bedroom and came back out with a purple satin dress with jewels embroidery on it, causing Ino to gasp at the beauty of the dress, and Naruto said in a sad tone, this dress was what I was planning to give you as a reward for cleaning this place up and doing your duty. It belonged to one of the only friends I ever had. As he looked at the dress sadly. Ino looked shocked and she said, why do you sound so sad? As her eyes took in the details of the dress. Naruto bit his lip and said, her name was Riku, she was a chunin and a damn good one. She taught me to read, that book over there was a gift from her. She had it specially made with her favorite stories from her childhood to teach me to read where only her and I could open it. She taught me to cook, and yes, I do eat more than just ramen. She also taught me about respecting women. She lived here. As he looked around. Ino looked around and said, she wasn't very cleanly. Naruto closed his eyes and said, her fiancé did this when he got word she died on a mission 4 months ago. She was teamed up with several other women who were in her class or within a year of it. Each were actually related. One of the girls was a fangirl throughout her years at the academy for the Rookie of the Year. They were tasked with infiltrating and spying on a rich businessman. Riku told me about each of the girls who were going with her and what they were going to have to do. Each of the things on that list I gave you to do were what they were going to have to do. Ino frowned and looked at the list on the table, and Naruto said, the fangirl, she was just like you, Ino. She was the daughter of a council member. Because of who her father is, she got away with being treated as a princess, and if she did something wrong, others were blamed for it. Just like you do to Choji and Shikamaru. When the girl was told to do those tasks, she tried to act like her usual self and order others to do it. The businessman had her taken in a room and taught the proper respect. To end the pain she was in, she made a deal. Her freedom in exchange for ratting out the rest of the team. 2 of the girls were her own sisters, twins who were a year younger than her, and Riku was her cousin, making Ino gasp. Naruto looked at the dress and said, I know I'm an asshole, I know it seems like I am using you, Ino, but it's not, because I'm getting enjoyment out of it. You brought up a lot of bad memories for me when you crossed the line you crossed yesterday by trying to steal my secrets. You made me not only question those around me but also question your integrity. If you wound up in the same situation that girl was in, would you sell out your team, your friends, family, village? You're not a bad person, Ino. I was there that day you saved Sakura from the bullies. I was there when you defended Choji from kids picking on him. I was also there that night you snuck out of your home to help that one girl to run away. Ino's eyes got wide as she looked at Naruto. Naruto said, you remember how the guy chased you and her? Remember how someone took her coat and ran back the way you came? Ino said, that was you? In disbelief. Naruto said, yeah. That guy used the kids as slave labor. I told the Hokage, but the Hokage said it was an orphanage and the man was very well respected and there was no proof of any wrongdoing. It's the same orphanage I was kicked out of at the age of 5 when I tried to rat him out. That's actually how I got this place, come to think of it. It was after I took her coat and made him follow me thinking I was that girl that I was able to get an Anbu patrol attention and walked away with only a broke arm. The Hokage, after having him interrogated, learned I had been living on the streets for nearly a year and he gave me my apartment and later that year this building. Ino stood there sobered and Naruto hung the dress on the door and said, after I first got this place some people broke in and destroyed a lot of stuff. The Hokage, after he helped me get everything back together, put seals all over the building. The reason nobody heard you is from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. the building is soundproof from everything outside and from the other apartments. The windows have seals to make it where nobody could see in also or break the windows. The doors can only be opened with a key from the outside. Even if you forget to lock the doors when you leave, and you have to either put a drop of blood on the handle if you're a civilian or send chakra into the handle to open it from the inside. I guess I suck as a teacher as well, since I couldn't teach humility and wanted to make sure you didn't follow the same path that fangirl did. You can go whenever you want, Ino, and take the dress. You can use it more than me. Good night. As he went toward the door, Ino said, wait. Naruto turned to look at her and she asked, why are you doing this? What are you really after? It's more than what I did to you or about making sure I don't turn out like that girl. Naruto walked to the book on the table and opened it, and Ino said, you're saying if I want answers I have to read it, huh? Naruto said, yeah, the book can't be moved by anyone but me, so it's safe here. Well, I've had a hard day training and I got another one tomorrow. I'm wanting to master as much of my bloodline as I can before we get our teams on Monday, since I won't be able to train with it much after that if I want to keep it a secret. Night Ino. See you in 2 days. Same rules as before except here. As he tossed another key on the table and Naruto said, it's the apartment across the hall. Next time I will carry out my punishment. If you want to you could look throughout this apartment here and see if you could find you some dry cloths since I know you're shivering from that ice water. Ino said, how did you put ice water on me? Naruto jumped up and touched the tiles and they began to spin and Naruto said, when I was rewiring this building after the breakers kept blowing I didn't want to destroy the tiles or walls so I made it where the tiles fixed themselves back while giving me access to get to the wiring. Not bad huh? Ino said, yeah, not bad. I never figured you would be skilled enough to rewire a building. Naruto looked at the ceiling and said, I'm not actually dumb Ino. When someone is willing to teach me things I learn really quick. I'm more of a hands-on type of person. It's book smarts that I have trouble with. Mostly since I couldn't actually read until last year and by then I've been mostly trying to catch up. The Hokage helped me out a few times. People who come to Konoha to start a new life here often need a place to stay till they can get the money to get a place. If they were skilled workers like a plumber or electrician or mason worker or even a carpenter he would let them stay here in exchange for them teaching me something of their skills. It would only be a day or two while they look for a place and maybe an hour or two a day but with them teaching me the basics in that time I could piece the rest together. Ino frowned and said, how come you don't act like this all the time? Why do you act so mature now but before you act like an idiot? Naruto said, maybe I will tell you someday if you quit being my enemy. Anyways I put some water balloons above each of the chairs and turned on the AC because I figured you wouldn't do what I asked without a fight and normally I would have fought you but I just don't have it in me tonight. Remembering dead friends takes a toll on you. Good night Ino. As he turned grabbing the key to the apartment they were in and left. Ino looked at the apartment and then at the book and then at the dress and she closed her eyes and sighed before she went to find her some cloths and then after finding some shorts and a shirt walked over and began to read the story. After she read it she thought, I think I understand now Naruto. The princess in that story was just like me, treating others like shit and shallow. In fact the story felt like it was me when I read it. You're taking the role of the prince who disguised himself as a peasant and forced the princess to learn the value of hard work and humility and in the end she found it and went from being seen as the spoiled princess who everyone hated to the kind and humble queen who all the people loved. As she wiped a tear from her eyes before she looked at the dress and then began to clean the apartment. In the bedroom a small picture frame went up in smoke as Ino began to clean. In Naruto apartment Naruto was cleaning his dishes when the memories from his clone hit him and he smiled and he dried his hands off and he walked into his bedroom and went to sleep. In the other apartment Ino wipes the sweat from her head and said, that wasn't so bad. As she looked around before her eyes landed on the dress. She smiled to herself and walked over and looked at it and thought, it's beautiful, thank you Naruto. The next day Naruto was leaning against a tree when Ino walked into the clearing wearing the purple dress she got the night before in a picnic basket. Naruto looked at her and after looking her up and down said, you look lovely Ino. Ino smiled as she moved her hair behind her head and said, you hungry? I brought a picnic lunch. Naruto eyes the basket and Ino saw this and closed her eyes before she said, if you're worried it's poison you can have me eat anything to test it first. Naruto said, oh, I'm not worried about poison. As long as I have chakra I'm immune to all poisons. I may get a stomach ache or small fever but that would be it. Ino blinked and said, really, you have another bloodline or something? Naruto said, something. I just was wondering if you really knew how to cook and if so how good. You never struck me as a homebody. Ino had a vein pop on her head and said, hey, I can cook. Naruto said, sorry, so why did you fix a picnic and come to me? I figure you would be with Sakura chasing Sasuke or with one of your friends or family. Ino bit her lip and walked over and pulled out a blanket and spread it out before sitting down on her knees and pulling out some sandwiches, bottles of water, and salads, ignoring Naruto's question. After she was done, Naruto walked over and sat down on the blanket also and picked up a sandwich, a bowl of salad and water, and began to slowly eat with manners to Ino's surprise, and Ino said, "Thank you." Naruto blinked and asked, "What for?" Ino looked at the food she had started to eat and said, "I'm a bitch. I knew that. I just never knew I was that much of one." Naruto watched her as she looked in thought, eating more of the food, giving her time to think, and Ino said, "When I read that story, it was like it was talking about me. I treated anyone and everyone as if they were subjects to me. It took you scaring and shocking me to snap me out of it. You were right when you said the real me was asleep. When I cleaned that apartment, I kept thinking over my life and I saw things I wish I could change. I don't like who I am." Naruto said, "Then change." Ino smiled and said, "You make it so easy." Naruto sighed and laid down on the blanket and looked at the sky and said, "Do you know about the goddess of fate, destiny, and chance, Ino?" Ino said, "No." Naruto said, "I do. I learned they are not what everyone believes they are. The only fate we all have is we are fated to die. The only destiny anything that dies has is to first be born. Chance gets mixed in there a little, but only after mortals have already made their choice. They don't tell us we are to marry this person or fall in love with that person. Let's take you and me for example. It was not fate or destiny that you would find me practicing that day. It was not them who decided you would use your family jutsu on me. Those were all your choices. When you entered my mind, you could have appeared in front of any of my memories. It was chance that determined you would appear in front of the one with me and those three ladies. It was your choice to actually view them. Kami gave everything one gift in life, the gift of choice. It is our choices that make us who we are and what we do. It is those choices that will determine if you will fall in love with someone or hate their guts. To change who you are is also a choice, Ino. You just have to make up your mind to change and chose to work toward it." Ino looked at Naruto with wonder, and Naruto closed his eyes and smiled and said, "It's also nice to take a moment to enjoy life. The gods made it a sunny day and gave us this gentle breeze. It was your choice to bring a picnic here, and it was my choice to join you and enjoy the beauty the gods gave us today." Ino smiled and asked in an unsure voice, Do you mind if I join you in enjoying it?" Naruto said, "It's your choice." With a smile. Ino smiled and got up and moved over to where Naruto was laying on the blanket, and she laid her head on his arm and looked at the sky and smiled and said, "I never thought I would be here, like this with you." Naruto smiled and said, "I never thought I would have someone like you actually want to be like this with me." Ino frowned and asked, "Like me, what do you mean?" As she bit her lip, placing her hand on his chest and looking at his face still on his arm. Naruto said, "Royalty like you with a peasant like me." Ino sat up and said, "If anyone should be considered royalty, it's you." Naruto closed his eyes and said in a quiet voice, "Ino, what do you know about me?" Ino blinked and sat up and looked at Naruto and asked, "Why?" Naruto opened his eyes half-lidded and he looked at her for several moments and said, "I need to know if people still see me as human or not." Ino looked confused and said, "Of course you are human. Why wouldn't you be?" Naruto looked at her before looking at the sky and after a few minutes said, "Can I trust you?" Ino blinked and Naruto sat up, grabbing her hands and looked her in the eyes and said, "Forget everything else for now. Forget our past, forget the future, forget your family and friends. Forget what happened between us before. Right here, right now, a woman in front of a man, one soul to another, I ask you, can I trust you?" Ino looked at him and thought, something's different. This is something very important to him. And said, "You can trust me, I won't betray your trust again." Naruto nods and said, "Then for right now, can we pretend the rest of the world doesn't exist, that you and I are the only two humans in the world, and that we can just lay here and forget all our duties and responsibilities and what the world might think and just hold each other?" Ino turned her head to the side and asked, "Why?" Naruto looked sad and said, "Never mind," as he started to get up. Ino quickly grabbed his shoulder, stopping him, and she said, "No. Wait, I didn't say we couldn't. I just was wondering why. Naruto looked down and said, I want to be normal for one day. Forget what others think. I just want one day to relax and enjoy life in its simplest form. One woman and one man just relaxing in comfortable silence where no words are needed, but if there are some spoken, they are not judged by the world around us. Ino saw the look of turmoil in Naruto's eyes and said, all right. Naruto smiled as he laid back on the blanket and Ino laid down beside him, and soon both were content relaxing as the wind blew through the trees, birds singing, clouds slowly slipping by overhead. Ino, who had moved her head from Naruto's arm to his chest, listened to his heart and thought, I could get used to this, as her eyes slowly closed before she drifted off to sleep. Naruto moved his arm closer, holding Ino next to him, thinking, I wish it could stay like this forever, as he also slowly fell asleep. The tree nearby moved its branches to give them some shade, and a voice said, enjoy, young master, quietly. When Naruto was asleep, he found himself in a white field and he blinked and looked around and thought, where am I? A seductive female voice said, everywhere and nowhere. Naruto looked around and said, who's there? Show yourself. The voice said, I would if I could, but I don't have a body to show. I am merely a spirit that is unwanted. Naruto frowned and said, who are you? The voice said, I don't really have a name. All I am is an emotion, but if you must call me a name, call me that emotion, desire. Naruto said, so tell me, desire, are you a god? Desire laughed and said, no, Naruto, I am like you. Something that was created and not wanted. Naruto said, I'm wanted. Desire said in a happy voice, really, who? Naruto started to open his mouth when Desire continued, who was there when you cried yourself to sleep? Who was there when you were hungry, thirsty, out in the rain and snow? Who brought you inside to keep you warm? Who held you? Who loved you? The answer is all the same. No one. Naruto said, you're wrong, Gigi was there for me. Desire said, oh, yes, he was there to make sure you were taken care of, that the villagers saw you as a hero, that you had friends and family, that you were given your real name and respected. He made sure you always had someone to protect you, to teach you to read, write, cook, feed yourself. He believed you when you told the truth and he never lied to you. Naruto flinched as he heard this, and Desire said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. He may care for you, but can you be sure it's not out of guilt for your parents or that the people ignored his law? He cares more for the people of that village than he does you, even though your family made the village. Naruto, who had closed his eyes trying to deny the words he heard, asked, why are you doing this? Desire said, to show you that you're not alone in the world. There is someone else like you. Naruto wiped the tears from his eyes and asked, what do you mean? Desire said, when the world was still young, Kami, when she was creating things, did not know what she wanted. She made things and then had them die off to make something even better. Sometimes she would create things only halfway, then decide to do it another way. The thing that all living creatures call emotions was one such thing. Kami originally made spirits like me, each made from a specific emotion, but then she decided that one spirit per emotion would be a waste of time, so she combined the essence of each of the spirits as one feeling known as emotion. She then took us spirits that she had originally created and sealed us in her little scrap box as a memory, only for her to remember her childish mistake where we were to be sealed away forever had someone not been curious and opened the box, freeing us. Since then we have drifted, going from one place to another, reminding people the emotion we represented. Naruto frowned and said, that was you that day, the day in the cabin with me and Ino, wasn't it? Desire said, yes. I saw yours and her desire and I decided to help you both get what you desired. Naruto said, what do you mean? In a confused voice. Desire said, you desired to keep your secrets and to make sure Ino did not tell anyone and to teach her a lesson. Ino also had a desire, one she's been after most of her life, that nobody would fulfill. Naruto said, you controlled me. Desire said, no, I advised you and you chose to follow it. I am nothing more than what you told Ino the gods were. I merely help people realize what it is they truly desire. It is their choice to chase it. Naruto asked. Then why did you advise me to do that to Ino? Surely there was another way. The world changed from a white room to a room Naruto recognized as the room he had Ino clean, and he looked around and he heard Desire whisper, "Watch Naruto, this is Ino dream she is having right now, her desire." Naruto watched as Ino sat there in the chair like she had been before, and he saw himself walk in and the other Naruto. During this, the other Naruto will be called Maelstrom, looked around the room and then at Ino and said, "Why did you not do your chores, Ino?" Ino said, "Because I'm not cleaning your place." Maelstrom said, "Then you leave me no choice but to punish you, Ino." As he began to walk toward Ino, Ino jumped to her feet and said in a scared voice, "What are you going to do?" Maelstrom grabbed Ino by the arm and sat down in the chair Ino had been in and pulling her down with him before placing his arm across her back as she tried to get free, and he said, "Hold still or I will punish you more than I already am." Ino said, "No, let me go." Maelstrom smacked her across the ass several times making her cry out, and after the third one he stopped and said, "Now are you going to listen?" Ino said, "Yes." Maelstrom smacked her ass again and said, "I own you now, Ino, you belong to me. You are my slave. You please me and I will reward you, fail me and I shall punish you. You will refer to me as master when you speak to me because you are my property. Do you understand?" As he smacked her ass again, Ino yelped and said, "Yes, master." Maelstrom said, "Good, then here is your punishment for not doing your chores. I shall spank you 5 times. Each time I do, you will count out how many I have hit you and thank me for it and ask for another. Do you understand?" Ino said, "Yes, master." Maelstrom nods and smacked her once and she said, "1. Thank you, master, may I have another? 2. Thank you, master, may I have another? 3. Thank you, master, may I have another? 4. Thank you, master, may I have another? 5. Thank you, master, may I have another?" Maelstrom then began to rub Ino's ass gently and said, There, now that wasn't so bad, was it?" Ino said, "No, master." Maelstrom said, "My, what is this? It seems you were excited about your punishment," as he rubbed Ino's panties that were now wet. Ino bit her lip and Maelstrom said, "Answer me, were you excited?" Ino quickly said, "Yes, master." Maelstrom said, "Tell me, why were you excited?" Ino looked down only to be smacked again across the ass, and Ino quickly said, "Because I have been a bad girl and wanted to be punished, master." Maelstrom said, "So you wanted to be punished, huh? You like to be punished?" Ino said, "Yes, master. I like to be punished." Maelstrom said, "Really? And what kind of punishment do you want? What would make you happy?" Ino said, "What I want is for you to own me, use me, treat me as you please, order me to do anything and everything you want. Beat me, use me, whore me out. I don't care. As long as you treat me as a slave. If you want, I will give up my ninja license this moment, give up my clan name, anything as long as you treat me as a servant." Maelstrom asked, "Why would you want me to do that to you?" Ino said, "It's the reason I've chased after Sasuke all these years." As she looked down and said in a less sure voice, "Ever since I was born and my mother passed away, I have been the little princess. Dad, Chusa, Shikaku, Shikamaru, Choji, customers. Even our sensei. I hate my life. Everyone treats me with respect since I am the heiress to the Yamanaka clan and the next generation Ino Shikacho. I've tried everything I could think of to be treated as any other girl. I shaved my head, I tried to burn my home down, I picked fights, I screwed up customers' orders, I purposely failed class assignments, I scream, hit, insult, and boss around everyone, and still everyone treats me as the little princess. I chased after Sasuke because I see what he is, a spoiled little brat who doesn't care about anyone and treats everyone like shit, hoping that he would treat me the same way, but all he did is ignore me. He will call Sakura annoying, but he won't even do that for me. I hate it. I hate people taking the blame for my actions to protect me." Maelstrom looked at her and said, "So I can treat you any way I want? Order you to do anything, right?" Ino said, "Yes." Maelstrom said, "So I could tell you go home and live your normal life and I won't have to deal with this ever again?" Ino frowned as she looked down and said, "You're my last hope, Naruto. I can't stand being the little princess anymore. I know it may sound nice and everyone thinks it's the way all girls want to be raised, but it's not. By being the little princess, nobody sees me, Ino, all they see is the princess. Someone who is supposed to look pretty and is too weak to protect herself, a damsel in distress who is always waiting for her Prince Charming to come along, a little girl who is pure and chaste. I have breast and A for crying out loud. I should be used as breeding stock to pass on my bloodline or made to work in a kitchen slaving over a stove. Not sitting there looking like a trophy in a chair who's too fragile to even touch," as she was huffing at the end with tear stains on her face. Maelstrom said, "You want to be seen as you and not what everyone thinks you are," in a dead voice looking down. Ino said, "Yes, master," as she wiped tears off her face. Maelstrom said, "You do realize there is no going back. I will own you and use you in every way I want." Ino said, "Yes, master, I know." Maelstrom nods and said, "Very well, you are now mine," as he grabbed her and kissed her passionately before taking her to the bedroom. As the door slammed, Naruto was wide-eyed and the world changed back to the white room, and Desire said, "Now do you understand why I suggested that? The girl wants to be owned and controlled. Trade the life of fantasy for a real life, even the life of a slave would be better than the life she lives now. That is why she came to seek you out, wearing the gift you gave her as a reward. It was something she earned, not given." Naruto frowned and said, I think I can understand." Desire said, "You desire so much. You desire fame, fortune, power, wealth, recognition, love, revenge, the list goes on and on. I could help you get all of it." Naruto blinked and said, "What do you mean?" Desire said, "You will never fit in with the mortals, first because of their fear of the demon, and if they learn about you being a demigod they will still fear you. The gods see you as entertainment, and unless you pass whatever test Kami set up for you, then that's all you will ever be to them. The only one you can count on is yourself, alone, just like me." Naruto frowned and Desire said, "Unless." Naruto looked up and said, "Unless what?" Desire said, "Unless we could be there for each other. I can help you get what you desire and you can help me get what I desire." Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, "Which is?" Desire said, "I'm tired of being alone. When I help someone get what they desire, they don't need me anymore, so I am left alone to look for someone else. If you want, we could become siblings. I could become your big sister who advises you on how to get what you desire, and you could be my little brother who would never leave me. Forever always, so neither of us would have to be alone again. Someone who could understand the pain of being unique." Naruto looked in thought and said, "Why should I trust you? How do I know that you're not trying to trick me to get something else?" Desire said, "All I will do is advise you. Everything will be your choice. I will even place my soul in your hands. I will possess that sword you have if you swear that you will never leave me. Like Ino, I would gladly give up my ability to go anywhere that I want if it meant I would not be alone." Naruto thought a moment and said, "Do you promise? Do you promise that you will help me achieve all my desires if I never leave you?" Desire said, "Yes." Naruto bit his lip and said, "Very well, then what should I do first?" The world around them shimmered and the little fox appeared floating in the world, and it began to glow, and Naruto saw a small eye appear in the guard of the sword, and he heard, "I have now become one with the sword. Just claim me here and now is yours." Naruto walked up and grabbed the sword and the world faded around him. Naruto awoke and looked down and saw Ino asleep on his chest, and he blinked as he felt motion on his knee, and he saw Ino humping his leg in her sleep, and he heard her mutter softly, "Oh master." Naruto thought, "Okay, what now?" He heard Desire in his head and he said, "Ino, wake up," in a commanding voice. Ino, who was startled, said, "Yes, master," before she blinked and looked around. Naruto said, "You have been very naughty, Ino, and have made my pants wet with your actions in your sleep. You must be punished." Ino blinked and said, "Huh, what?" Naruto said, "Don't you remember, Ino? You said you wanted me to own you, beat you, whore you out as long as I treated you as a slave." Ino's eyes got wide and said, That was real. Naruto said, no. But it was your ultimate desire you had in your dream. I was there, watching it. I saw and heard your confession and I take that oath you swore very serious. Ino asked, how could you have seen that? Naruto said, you do not question master or do I need to punish you? As he raised his hand. Ino quickly got to her knees and said, no master. Naruto lowered his hand and said, was it true? Was what you just dreamed what you really want and desire Ino? Ino bit her lip and slowly nods her head yes. Naruto asked, would you like it to be real? For me to become your master? Ino's eyes sparked with hope a moment and said, yes master. Naruto said, so I can use you any and every way I want then. Ino said, yes master. Naruto said, and your love for Sasuke? Ino said, there was never any love, just hope that he would someday treat me like you're saying you will master. Naruto looked at Ino and said, and you have no problem with me being your master, you don't care about love or anything like that. Ino looked at Naruto and said, can I be honest master? Naruto nods and Ino said, it's not that I don't care about love. It's just that I'm numb inside. I don't know what real love is because of the way I've been treated. Everyone claims they love me and it makes it where I believe love is nothing more than another form of friendship. When everyone loves you a little, it's impossible to tell when someone actually loves you more than that. Naruto got up and walked over to Ino and used his hand under her chin to raise her head since she was on her knees and he leaned down and kissed her with as much passion as he could gently. Once the kiss was over, Ino sat there with a dazed look on her face and Naruto, who moved his head by her face, whispered in her ear with as much honesty and care he could, swear your heart, mind, body and soul to me and I will do everything in my power to fulfill every desire you have and show you what it feels like to live and to love. I'll show you pleasure for pleasing me and pain for angering me. I'll protect you and provide for you, show you why you treasure what you have been given, appreciate what you earn, and mourn what you lost. This is an oath I swear to you. Will you accept my oath here and now with only nature and any of the gods watching us as witness besides us? Will you accept me as your master and serve only me until the end of your days, no matter what the future might bring? To never betray me or leave my side. Ino felt a warm feeling in her body as the words went through her mind and she closed her eyes enjoying the feeling and she leaned back and looked into Naruto's eyes which she saw nothing but honesty and care. She asked, are you asking me to be your wife because that sounded like a confession of love? Naruto said, wife and husband, yin and yang, master and servant, each of these are names to bonds people share like you claim love is nothing but another form of friendship. Titles are merely names people give to make them feel connected. Which would you desire more, a feeling of a wife or a servant? I told you all life is a choice that we must live with. I ask you now, which life do you desire? Ino sat there for a moment and thought, which life do I choose? In the last few days I have felt more alive as a servant than I did as a princess. Anyone but Naruto would treat me as a princess. The question is, will I give my life to him? And asked, would you keep me? Naruto said, I treasure everything I own and keep it close to my heart because I know the pain of loss and know the value of having. I would keep you always, not only in life but in death also. I would treasure you for all eternity. I know I may someday get more servants or wives to share my life with, but I would treasure each uniquely, no matter what title they name the bond we share, because to me it is all the same. Ino smiled as she let a tear fall down her face and said, I've known more love as a servant these past few days than a lifetime as a princess. I treasure this dress more than the 100 I have in my closet because it was one I earned then was given or bought. I chose the life of a servant to faithfully be yours master forever and always. Naruto nods and offered his hand and Ino took it, and after she was on her feet he looked around and said, I think you have earned a reward Ino for making me happy. The secret that started this all, the one that I was afraid to reveal and afraid you found out about. The night Mizuki tried to kill me, a seal that was placed on me by my father the day I was born activated. It was on my stomach and the seal had a special clone of my mother along with these cloths, sword, and a few other things as well in it, including my birth certificate. However, someone also placed another seal on top of the one my dad placed on me. It could have been my dad who did it, or the Sandame, or someone who wanted revenge against my family, but I don't know which and probably never will. The seal was what put those whiskers on my face I used to have. Ino asked, what was so important about whiskers someone would put them on you? Naruto said, the day I was born the Kyuubi attacked Konoha. The same day my parents passed away. Nobody has ever killed a demon before Dad did. They have always been sealed away somewhere, or I should say into someone. Ino gasped as she covered her mouth and said, please tell me you're joking. Naruto said, Jinchuriki, the power of a human sacrifice, those who have a demon sealed in them are called that, only an infant can have a demon sealed in them and live. That is what I was told. Whoever put the Genjutsu seal on me made everyone believe I was a Jinchuriki. Ino asked, but why would they do that? Naruto said, depending on who put it on me will tell me why they did it. Konoha was weak after the Kyuubi attack. Either Dad as the Hokage or the Sandame knew that other villages might attack us in our weakened state and thought that having a demon they could threaten to release on whoever attack us would be a good way to scare them not to. I could see both Dad and the Sandame doing that, but I could also see someone hating Dad and Konoha so much they would find it funny that Konoha would kill the son of their greatest enemy for them and then reveal who I am to make Konoha look bad after I was dead. I know the Sandame knows who I really am. I have my parents' marriage certificate along with my birth certificate, which both have his stamp on them, though he claims he doesn't. Naruto, whose face looked sad and his eyes lost focus showing he was in thought, said, the Sandame passed a law saying no one was allowed to talk about the sealing after he made a village-wide announcement about it. He had hoped that I would have a normal life, but the people see me as the Kyuubi and have made my life hell. Sure, there are some who don't, but most do. The sad thing is, thanks to Gigi Law, until the night Mizuki tricked me and tried to kill me, I never even knew why I was treated like that. Then after that I find out that everyone is actually wrong about it and I'm not a Jinchuriki and all my pain and suffering was for nothing. As she sat down, Ino bit her lip and walked over and hugged him and said, I'm sorry. Naruto rubbed her arm and said, you didn't know, quietly. After about 10 minutes Ino, who had yet to let go of him, said, so what shall I do for you, master? Naruto said, do you want people to know about us yet? Ino said, it's your call, master. Naruto thought a moment and said, it's late today, I want to get a little more training in today before I go home. Why don't you go ahead and go have you some fun? Tomorrow go ahead and clean up that apartment I told you about. If things go like I plan, I'm going to be moving out of that building soon and I can maybe turn it into a motel or rent it out for extra cash. After that I want you to get ready for our duties as ninja on Monday. I want you to write down a list of all the jutsu you know, how long you can run non-stop without needing a break, and any other skills you think might be of use as a ninja or a person. That way I know what to ask you to do and also on what area you need to train in to improve. I need to improve also. Ino asked, why do you want to know my ninja skills? Naruto said, because I don't want to see you die. Now don't question your master, you. As he began to tickle her side and Ino squirmed before burst out laughing and she screamed, quite it. Naruto kept on tickling her until both were rolling on the grass. Ino wound up pinned beneath Naruto, who hovered over her face, and he slowly leaned down and kissed her and Ino was in heaven. Naruto broke the kiss and thought a moment before a smile appeared on his face and said, feel like shocking the hell out of Sakura, Sasuke and the rest of our class. Ino said, what do you have in mind? Naruto whispered in her ear and her eyes got wide and she said, but I never. Naruto put his finger to her lips and said, relax, there's a first time for everything and I'll reward you in advance. Ino asked, what do you mean? Naruto smiles as he slipped a hand up her dress and her eyes got wide and Naruto said seductively, my, someone seems excited. Ino bit her lip as Naruto rubbed her through her panties and he kissed her lips passionately and she moaned into his mouth. After a few moments Ino was really turned on and Naruto crawled down and raised her dress up with Ino lifting her ass to help. Naruto then said, Purple really is your favorite color, huh? Ino said, yes, master. As she blushed. Naruto nods and slid her panties off and said, just as beautiful as I thought it would be. As he bent down and began to kiss the outside of her thighs, working his way up to her womanhood, and he said, Jasmine's. As he began to lick her womanhood with gutso, making Ino squirm and squeal in pleasure, and Naruto stopped and looked at Ino, who mewed, and Naruto said, at least I now know why you're named Ino. Before she had a chance to respond, he attacked her lips again and quickly began to shoot her clit with his tongue. For the next 30 minutes Ino was in pleasure and was panting and squealing as Naruto used his mouth and fingers to please her. After her fourth orgasm, Naruto stopped and crawled up to where Ino was exhausted and said, so, are you satisfied with your reward? Ino, whose eyes were half closed, said, very. Naruto said, good. Now I don't know about you, but I think we should head home for the day. Ino said, you're not going to, a little sad. Naruto said, I will eventually, but not today. I want you to be ready for it, and I can tell you're nervous about it. We will take things slowly as long as you keep me pleased. Ino said, and if I don't? In a half-defiant, half-joke way. Naruto said, I could have stopped each time before you climaxed. Ino's eyes got wide and she whimpered and said, sorry, master. Naruto said, good. Now let's get this mess cleaned up from our lunch in my desert and go home to rest. Ino blushed as Naruto looked at her crotch when he said desert, but slowly got up and slipped on her panties and began to clean up the picnic that Naruto had started to clean up. After they were done and started to leave, Naruto called over his shoulder, good night, Oak, see you soon. Ino looked confused until a voice said, good night, young master. Ino's eyes got wide and said, who was back there, master? As she blushed thinking of what they saw. Naruto said, I'll tell you later. Ino frowned but nods, and Naruto said, don't tell anyone about us yet. I have a few things to take care of the next few days, so you may not see me much, but don't worry. I'll check up on you when I can and reward you if I see fit. Ino said, I love your rewards, master. Naruto stopped and pulled Ino close to him and looked her in the eyes and asked, is this what you want, Ino? I mean, things are moving very fast and I've been hated and will be hated for a while by the people of Konoha because of the lie, and I don't know if I am ready to reveal the truth yet. Are you sure you want me? I don't want to trust you and be hurt. Ino looked into his eyes and said, I won't betray you again, Naruto. I'm sorry I did. I know the most I might ever be to you is a love toy to use as you see fit and a woman to pop out a kid or two for you because of what I did. I can see also that you won't actually hurt me. You could have hurt me at any time in that cabin or in that apartment and no one would have found me. I know you're stronger than me, so there is very little I could have done to stop you if you had, but you didn't. I've actually walked out in public before in less than what you saw me in at the cabin, trying to get in trouble after Dad told me I couldn't buy a $1,200 dress. Instead of punishing me for being spoiled, he gave in and bought that dress, and I never once wore it. This is what I have wanted since that night I saved that girl. Naruto asked, why? What caused you to change into Ino the bitch? Ino looked down and said, Suzuki, the girl I helped. I met her at the park a week before that. She was stealing wallets to give to the owner of the orphanage. I didn't understand why she was doing it, so I went to the orphanage with her, saying I didn't have any parents in. I was only there for 3 hours when Daddy found me and took me away. When I saw Suzuki again, she had a broke arm and was missing a couple of teeth. She didn't trust me for leaving her, and I wanted her trust back, so when she told me that she found someone who was willing to take her away from the orphanage if she could get out of the orphanage, I agreed to help her escape. She met this woman. She looked like an Anbu but wasn't. I don't know how to describe her, but the woman told Suzuki that if she agreed to serve her master, she would have food, shelter, cloths, home, and a purpose. She would never have to fear being hurt again because she would be protected by her master, and all she had to do was serve her master. Suzuki agreed and begged me to come with her. The Anbu seemed to know who I was and asked me if I wanted freedom also. Freedom from all the fake smiles and fake love, from everyone always having to protect me and having me be the weak little princess. I called the woman a liar, told her people loved me and it was real, and begged Suzuki not to go with her. Suzuki left with her. I saw her a year later. I talked to her and asked how she was. She seemed so happy and said her master made her life great. She told me she had been watching me from a distance when she could, and she pointed out how after I broke my leg Shikamaru and Choji had to stop what they were doing to catch me if I climbed a tree, how everyone had to protect the little princess and give me fake love giving examples, and how I was a weak little girl. I slapped her and that was the last time I saw her, but her last words were, "Hope you're happy in your trophy case." Naruto pulled Ino into a hug because she had tears in her eyes. Ino said, "After that I took time to really look at things around me. That was when I ran into Sakura the first time and wanted to prove I wasn't a trophy by helping her, but even Sakura put me on a trophy case. I could never escape. I wanted an escape." Naruto said, "Thus the reason you want to be a slave." Suzuki became truly happy because she became a slave to someone, and so you thought if you could follow her footsteps that you could also. Ino said, "Yeah, pretty stupid huh?" Naruto said, "You're talking to the guy who acts like orange is the greatest color ever, who wanted to be seen instead of ignored. I could probably understand you better than anyone. Listen Ino, I'm not the best guy around, but I will try to make you happy, but not because I see the heiress to the Yamanaka clan. I only give respect to those who earned it in my eyes. The rest of the world can kiss my blonde ass as I tell them to off. Now that you're showing the real you, you earn some of my respect, so you're no longer my enemy, or just a love toy or a baby factory. If I wanted that I would let the council blow smoke up my ass. Kami, when the hell did I become this?" As he grabbed his head hearing himself talk. Ino laughed and said, "What the hell's happening to us Naruto?" Naruto said, "Damned if I know. I think I've been drinking again or something." Ino blinked and said, "You drink?" Naruto said, "Those three ladies, well, one of them happens to be my godmother, as weird as that sounds." Ino scrunched her nose and said, "That sounds." Naruto said, "Tell me about it." Anyways, the other two are her sisters, though I don't know if it is by blood. They took me out to a bar away from the village and got me drunk and dancing, and then, well, you saw how it ended. Ino shook her head and said, "Well, you did use protection, right?" Naruto said, I don't know. I know they gave me this and said as long as I wear it I don't have to worry about kids and my bloodline stops any STD, as he showed a ring on his finger. Ino looked at it and said, "There must be some kind of seal and jutsu on it somewhere." Naruto said, "I don't know, but are you really okay with this? I mean, are you sure you want the dead last to be in charge of your life?" Ino said, "I am master." Naruto said, "Then make sure you please me so I can reward you. Well, this looks like where we must go separate ways. I'll see you soon Ino." As they got back to the village, Ino quickly kissed him and said, "See you tomorrow Master Kun," as she ran off. Naruto sighed and Desire said, "So, how do you like me fulfilling your desire?" Naruto thought, "I like it." Desire said seductively, "Good brother." As several small pea-sized ball of energy appeared in front of the eye of the sword on Naruto back before it flew into the eye. After it was absorbed, Desire thought, "This might work out better than I plan. With those desires fulfilled and the others this boy has, I shall become stronger and stronger, and then I will have my revenge. I'll have my revenge on you, my love." As an image of a man appeared in her mind.